All right. Hey, what's up, guys? Man, what a crappy day it is today. Wet, overcast, blah. But anyhow, according to the tape measure, I'm about 10 feet away from snapping right in half. Yep, right there, 10 feet. But anyhow, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm standing here in front of all these beautiful pieces of machinery, and man, just look at them. I love these trucks more than a lot of stuff. But so obviously, you know, if you guys have been watching the videos, which about 5,863 of you do regularly, and another 5,000 occasionally, and 25,000 more every once in a while, you notice that Crystal is no longer in the place for trucks to die location, and we're gonna move X into the place for trucks to die pretty soon, because we're gonna get underneath there and that's slap a transmission in it, and then stab a drive shaft in it, and then stab some air lines on it, and then see if it'll crank and air up that system, and then maybe we can get that final truck. That's truck number 13, start run drive. Everything else on the property start run drives except for that truck, because we're shy of transmission. If anybody has an RTLO 18918 18913 16913, give me a call, drop it off, let's stick it in there and get her going. But that's next on the agenda. Now in between now and then, I get a lot of that. Well, why don't you ever finish something? Why don't you ever finish something? Well, I do have a lot of stuff finished. Marla's finished. Candy, finished. 12, finished. 13 was finished. Now I'm doing a fuel tank change because it's smart to get rid of some old bent up big 28-inch tanks and put some 24.5s on to give them a little more clearance. 13's fixing to go out and pull some logs. Everybody's been like, what are you going to do with the trucks? What are you going to do with the trucks? What are you going to do with the trucks? Well, I'm going to put some trucks out pulling some logs, because down here in Georgia, that's what you do. You pull logs. So 13's getting ready to get some fuel tanks, get a steering gearbox change, get a DOT inspection, and hit the highway. Semi Legit LLC is the name of the company, and we pull logs. Also, possibly, might be, maybe, finally getting an RGN. We'll see how that pans out. But man, just look at my treasures. All these trucks in this row, I could throw batteries in to start engines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. I can let it air up and take it for a drive. Pretty soon, OX here is going to be ready to do the same thing. Now, we're going to hop around a little bit because, well, I've been off work for a few months. I just got back from work last night. I got a little bit of money finally, and so we're going to get after some of the stuff that's been waiting on cash. Here's a list of things we need to do, not in any order of priority, but just a small list of things we have to do to continue getting these trucks towards finished. Black Betty belongs to Jessica. Jessica's working on the interior of Black Betty, but I have to do the suspension on Black Betty. So we're going to get old Patty's frame moved out of this location, stuffed over there in the dirt somewhere. We're going to scooch old Black Betty over into the middle aisle and get it up on jack stands and get the rear suspension down. And got to look at what's going on. Get the sandblast crew in here, sandblast that puppy, prime and paint it, start putting the suspension back in. Once the suspension is back in the truck and fixed up, we'll wheel and tire that thing, and it's pretty close. A little bit more wiring, some fancy schmancy on the inside, and well, you know the deal. Franny's got a bad radiator. My goal on Franny right now is to measure up the cooling pack that came out of Patty the parts truck, see if it'll fit, and if it'll fit, it's going to go in Franny, and we're going to change Franny over to intercooled instead of aftercooled. And, you know, since that engine's turned up anyways, we might want to get that thing cooled down. Franny also has some bad suspension components, which I do have, so Franny will also get up here at some point in time, get the rear suspension dropped down, sandblast, prime and paint the frame, repair and replace the needed pieces in the suspension, and then that truck just needs the standard brakes, bags, bearings, bushings, shocks, and windshields, some carpeting, and some interior panels put back in, a couple little tidbits on wiring to finish up, and then that truck's roadworthy. We got Evelyn, formerly known as 11. Evelyn is the name of my niece, and Jessica has decided that 11 should be named Evelyn, and so now Evelyn there. Evelyn is pretty much mechanically sound. She needs exhaust, which, you know, let's talk about exhaust for a second. Standard exhaust for trucks about $2,000. So if you look around and you see some trucks, it's got a single pipe, needs 2 pipes and this and that, it's because it's super expensive. But we do need to get a Y pipe and some lower pieces and then put some stacks on that thing. So we're looking at about $2,000 for that, plus that truck needs all the standard stuff: brakes, bearings, bushings, and shocks, and airbags. And then that truck will be roadworthy. It still needs a little bit of wiring. We got to track down why the one light's dim, but you know, all in all, throw a bumper on the front. I did find a new grill. All in all, that truck's in pretty good shape. Interior clean, a little bit of wiring, exhaust, brakes, bags, bearings, bushings, and a 5th wheel. That truck's done. Over here to X. Pretty soon X is going to have a name as well, but right now it's Truck X. It's X rated because it's nasty. And let's go over Truck X. That truck has been off the road for 15, 20 years. It was parted out. There was no rear diffs. The engine was junk. There was no transmission. We're lucky to find the drive shaft. It needs a full rebuild. The thing was sitting without wheels and tires on it, so the bottoms of the tanks are a little smashed up. So we're going to swap out the tanks, fix up that chrome trim, slap on some new lights, put some carpet in that thing, fancy up the interior, get a new power window regulator for the driver's side, put some door locks, door handles, and hinges on it. Get a transmission. Transmission's $4,000. Put a $1,500 clutch in there. Get the drive shaft redone, which is going to cost about $1,000. Then we got to go through. They took all the air system out of the truck. So then we got to go through there and re-air the whole truck. All new hoses and tanks and valves and gadgets. That's got Conmet hubs on it, and currently that truck is buds. But we're going to pop out those studs and slap in some new studs, and that truck's going to be Unimount wheels. We'll slap some nice modern fancy schmancy wheels on it. It needs full exhaust. That's about $2,200-$2,300 with the way that's set up in there. So we get the new exhaust done, finish the interior, get that hood fixed up where it's got some brakes, slap a $1,500 bumper on there. You know, throw on about $10,000 worth of wheels and tires and $5,000 of trans and clutch, $2,000. So I'll have $30,000 in a $20,000 truck. Perfect. But I love that truck, so it deserves it. Fiona, what's wrong with Fiona? Well, you know, Fiona's coming around. We need a couple more airbags for the cab, a whole bunch of wiring and air lines inside the cab. We got to come up with some sort of solution for the wipers. I've got a couple parts trucks we're going to try and snag some pieces off of. Slap a visor on there, some roof lights. Oh, X needs roof lights. I can't remember if we did Franny's. Nope, Franny needs roof lights. X needs roof lights. Fiona needs roof lights. Needs the horns rebuilt and that stupid windjammer slammer Alabama on the top up there. That thing. She needs dual exhaust, but for right now it's got exhaust. I got the grill in, the headlight bucket's all manufactured and fixed, and springs in there. We need to get the bezels. I have the bezels. We need to get those repaired up and put on, and polish up that new bumper we got for it, slap it in there. And that truck needs wheels and tires and brakes and bushings and no bags because spring right on the frame. But so, you know, we still need about $7,500 worth of parts and 1,000 hours of labor on Fiona. Let's move down to Dolores. Dolores needs roof lights, horns, interior parts, air system parts, brakes, bags, bushings, bearings, kingpins, tie rod ends, wheels and tires. So about $8,500, $9,500 worth of parts for Dolores, and then she'll be all sparkle buggy. Candy needs nothing. Candy's roadworthy. Candy's interior needs a bath, but other than that, Candy needs nothing. Whitney needs everything. Whitney is made out of steel. Whitney has rust. We need to get some of that rust repaired. We need to get the body work done. We need to strip that paint off. It needs new windshields. Needs new interior. Needs new air system. Needs new wiring. We're going to cut that frame off and slap on some sort of fancy schmancy air ride rear clip on it. Needs a bumper. Needs a grill. Needs roof lights. So about $18,000 away from Whitney being a nice, good-looking, restored truck. Marla needs nothing. However, due to the fact that I think I want to keep Marla, and you know, running a truck that has a 2-stroke Detroit and trying to make money with it is not really a great idea. We're going to swap that engine out. We're going to take that 8V92 500 horse oil leaker out, and we're going to put one of two options. We're going to either put a 14-liter Detroit or a 6NZ Cat. Probably going to be a Detroit. And yeah, we're going to swap that out and put a modern engine in there. And we're also going to change the transmission. I don't like that 15 speed, so that's going to get a 13 or an 18 as well. Crystal down on the end. Well, Crystal still needs a lot of stuff. Needs a full interior, some windshields, a lot of body work. I don't want to paint it, but we'll probably strip it down to metal and paint the thing. Probably throw an air ride on it at some point, but we're probably only $10,000 away from hard parts and labor of getting Crystal ready to perform. Trisha, mechanically sound, brakes, bags, bearings, bushings, all that's done. Needs exhaust because I stole her single exhaust for Crystal, and I'm going to get the other side so Crystal has dual exhaust, and then we'll do something on Trisha. Maybe some 7s, maybe some 8s. Maybe I won't keep that 8-inch on Crystal. Maybe I'll put 10s on Crystal. Who knows? But Trisha needs the body work done, strip and paint. I'm trying to get the energy to do that myself. We'll see how that goes. If I get Black Betty moved over into the work area, I might shoot Trisha out of the shop and squirt some stripper on it, get that thing down to metal, and then on rain days do some body work. We'll see how that goes. 13, we've already been over that. 12 doesn't need anything mechanical. I would like to change the exhaust manifold because there's some erosion, and I would like to change the turbo because that one's a little small for the truck. And I am considering doing a DDEC 2 to DDEC 3 conversion, which is a couple of grand. And it's more like a few grand because that truck doesn't have jakes, and so I want to put jakes on it. And it needs drives, but I'm not putting tires on that truck. It's holding there. I'll put tires on the truck when it goes to work. The plan is after 13's out, shooting some logs around the state. Candy's going to go out and shoot some logs around the state. And 12's going to go out and shoot some logs around the state. And we'll see how logs go. Logs are hard on your truck. They're heavy. So not sure how long we'll do logs, but anyways, guys, that's an update. Today what I'm going to do is I've just got back from work. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and clean up the mess, the leftover mess from Crystal. I got to do some measuring on some frame holes and get some frame holes marked out on 13 and pop them through, and then we'll take the passenger side tank and we'll get it down there and we'll get her mounted up and we'll get her hooked up and we'll transfer some fuel into it, and then we'll try and bring that truck up here to do the driver's side. But for today, for this week, let's get some fuel tanks on it, let's get some fuel in there, and let's get that thing spun around here, and let's get that gearbox changed, and let's get it on.